will call this meeting to order. May I have a roll call, please?
Trustee Hansen?
Here.
Trustee Duro? Here. Trustee Meyer?
Here.
President Pearsall?
Here.
Trustee Walschlager? Here. Trustee Lepke?
Here.
Trustee Connor?
Here. If you'd all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Trustee Meyers.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If there's anybody that would like to speak in public comments for items that are not on the agenda, please step towards the podium at this time. Seeing as there are none, we will move to our first order of business, which is a consideration of a motion to approve the village board minutes from the November 9th, 2020 meeting.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the minutes from the November 9th meeting. Discussion. One thing I'd like to add for the administrator is that we will, I'm guessing, approve the minutes from the meeting that was held with the village board at the joint meeting. Would that be at our next village board meeting?
We have been approving those at the Plan Commission, Village Board, Plan Commission, Architectural Review Board, Plan Commission.
Okay, the village board will not need to be there to,
We will do theirs first and then the Village Board.
so the next
after
village
that,
board
yes.
meeting.
Yes. But the Village Board portion will be done by the Village Board.
Gotcha. Just wanted to make sure. Did you have something?
Yes, I do.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to approach the administrator. In the minutes, it states that our rec director stated that the city of Delafield had approved an agreement for recreation services and that the agreement would be placed on the next village board meeting for consideration, which would have been today.
Their next Village Board meeting.
They are next. Okay, thank you.
She was at their.
It just
their
says the
meeting.
agreement placed
Yep,
on the
I'm-
next, so it wouldn't be their village because they're a city. So it says our village.
Ooh, I think she was there, they were doing their budget meeting. I think she was there presenting that agreement, and they were going to approve it, but I am happy to double check that. That's the impression that I was under.
That would be great, because it says in the minutes that will be placed on the next village board meeting, and they're not a village, they're a city, so I'm assuming that means our village board meeting. Thank you.
We will get to that answer.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Anybody else? So it's been moved and seconded to approve the village board minutes. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? That motion is carried. The next item we have is consideration of a motion to approve vouchers for payments. This is in the amount of $271,779.38.
I make a motion to approve the vouchers for $271,779.38.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the vouchers for $271,779.38. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Abstain.
All opposed? And an abstention.
Abstain. Sorry. Just so excited.
That motion passes. And next items that we have are actions related to licenses and permits. We have in consideration of a motion to approve an operator's bartender license. This is for Michael Belcock and Sarah Carter. The applicants have successfully completed the courses, and the village police chief approves, is okay with them getting the licenses.
I'll make the motion that we approve both of the bartender's operator's license as read.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve those licenses. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? That motion is carried. The next item that we have is the consideration of an extraterritorial certified survey map at N26W30227 Maple Avenue, town of Delafield. We are into the items that were referred from the November 16th Plan Commission meeting.
I make a motion we approve the actuarial certified map in North 26 W30227 Maple Avenue.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve that extraterritorial certified survey map. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That motion is carried. We then have consideration of an extraterritorial certified survey map at N28W29721 Oakwood Grove Road, Town of Delafield.
I'll make a motion to approve extraterritorial certified survey map at N28W29721 Oakwood Grove Road, Town of Delafield.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? That motion is carried. I'm not used to meetings going this quickly. I don't know. Well, we have Ryan, do you have anyone else other than the names we can see on the Zoom call?
We have nobody on.
I'll leave this up to the board. We're about to move into consideration of a motion to confirm an appointment to the Park and Recreation Board.
Hold on, he's popping in. Randy Farrell,
Yep,
he should be on right now.
good thing he came early. So at this time, we have consideration of a motion to confirm an appointment to the Park and Recreation Board. We're kind of going over this one again because there was not the residency requirement was not met at the last village board meeting. This time, he's here, so I don't know how the board wants to handle this, but if you want to hear a few words from him, or if you have any questions from him, but that would be my nomination to this village board, asking for approval for Randy Farrell to be on the Park and Rec Board. I'm not sure if you want to let him say a couple words and then ask any questions that the board might want to ask. But Randy, in a minute or two, can you sum up why you want to be on the Park Board, things you've done, qualifications, that sort of thing?
Sure. First, hi everyone. I'm Randy Farrell, and I am.
Sorry, state your address also, please. Sorry.
Yes, sir. 915 South Imperial. That is Hartland, Wisconsin 53029. And I am. Let's see. I have a degree in recreation management. I have a background in recreation. I've worked in various areas of different park systems, different college sport programs, as far as the director of the wrestling programs and camp systems with both Purdue University and Duke University. I've worked with many programs in regards to outdoor recreation and high-level ropes courses and other things, adventure courses, as well as youth sports, adult rec leagues. And I currently work with Kelly at the Hartland Recreation Department, putting forth our Warhawk Youth Wrestling program and offering that to our students and athletes, young athletes here in the village and surrounding area.
Thank you. Does anybody, I would open it up to the board because it's my nomination, but anybody that has any questions for the nominee?
I make a motion that we accept your nomination for the Park Board.
I second it.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the nomination and nominate Randy Farrell to the Park Board. Any discussion?
Welcome to Hartland.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? That motion passes unanimously. Welcome. You will be contacted by either the administrator or the clerk on next steps. But welcome to the Park Board, and thank you for stepping up and serving.
That's awesome. I want to thank each and every one of you. Thank you so much. It's going to be a great opportunity to help and to serve and to better our community, and especially with a number of things with our leisure time and recreation activities.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item on our agenda is an item that's for discussion and action to request for statement of qualification for village engineer services. I will defer to the village administrator to, kind of touch on how this came up. I am glad that it came up, but I don't know if you want to say anything, Tim, otherwise I'll kind of say
You go for it.
It was brought up by a trustee, and I do have to commend trustee Walschlager for, noting it. Last time that we did the village engineer contracts, it came up, I think, out of the blue. I don't even remember exactly how it all happened, but we're like, hey, why don't we understand when these contracts are coming up? So trustee Walschlager had came and said, hey, last time we did that, it was for 2 years. It's supposed to be a 2-year contract. What's going on with that? And I do think it's important for this board to know, when contracts are coming up, even if we set them for automatic renewal, I think each year or every 2 years, whenever that contract typically would be up, that it be brought to the attention of this board, because ultimately it's us that decide whether that contract stands or not. And, that's the authority given to us, and I think that sometimes we do need to look over things. So with it being brought up, it was asked to be put on the agenda. I agreed it should be on the agenda. Where we go from here, that can go in a multitude of different areas, but I do think it was very appropriate for trustee Walschlager to bring it up and say December 31st is the deadline. That should be brought up. We have to at least address it in front of the board, and I agree with that, especially since we said that 2 years ago. So this is on the agenda so that the board can do with it as they wish. This could go everywhere and anywhere. It could go to, nope, we want to do a full on, it'd have to be really fast. But this could be a full on, we put this completely out for bid, kind of go to the drawing table and put it completely out for bid, or it could be that the village says, hey, if they're giving us the same contract, we'll keep it. But and anything in between. So I'm going to kind of leave it up on the floor, but that's how it came up.
May I ask a question? Are we, is it not in our rules somewhere, I didn't have time to look it up before tonight, but that we need to put it out, any kind of contract like that, when it's up, we have to put it out for bids? It isn't?
If you're going and have it, yes, we have a policy, it's not a law, but we have a policy that we kind of enacted about 3.5 years ago that said, hey, we're gonna put things out for bid. This is only slightly different because we already have a contract, so it is slightly different.
Okay.
So we've already approved it once, and this contract automatically renews, except for we said, no, we want to know so that we can send it out for bid if we want. So it isn't legally mandatory that we send it out for bid, but this board absolutely can send it out for bid. Absolutely. Now, let's say all of a sudden Rupert and Milky, and this isn't happening, but let's say they were ceasing to exist. Let's say they were dissolving. Now, we're going and getting a new, engineer. That would be appropriate. We would not just decide on something that would need to go out
Right.
for bid. But it's just, this is putting it out in front of the board. So it's not mandatory, but.
I had been asked at a conference from several different engineering companies that said, hey, when can we bid? So, and they did contact me, so I was just, that's how it came up.
Okay.
Do we know, have they submitted a new contract yet?
They will if we want them to.
Okay.
And they would, they would match prices as they have in the past, but obviously the flexibility is to you guys, whether you want to move forward with R&M. I think it's coming up on their 10th year. Or you could go out and, as the village president indicated, you could do a full search, you could do a narrow search, you could do it however you'd like. We put together a little SOQ for you guys to look at as a process with some tentative dates that would work. R&M is obviously would stand behind, if our process ran over the last day of the year, they will continue to offer services until we find a new engineer if we're working on that. So they're not, not going to leave us. It's not like January 1st we're out of an engineer. So it's really up to the board. Obviously, that's a process to go through, but it also, on the flip side, it also keeps our consultants keeps them on their toes, if you will. So I mean, there's two sides to that coin. The process that we tentatively kind of laid out was that we would market it. There's about 15 engineering firms in the southeastern Wisconsin area that do municipal work. We would market it to them. We would get statement of qualifications back, kind of do a stack ranking, and then decide with the board here, put that in front of the board to see, do you guys want to interview 3? Do you want to interview 5? How do you want to proceed from that point forward? But we would try to organize them based on our experience of the qualifications that we laid out, and then some of the items that the village essentially had been looking for when we got to R&M in the first place, which was one firm that did everything instead of having multiple. One did the roads, and one did the water, and one did the stormwater, and then the finger pointing starts when. So with just some of the basic things that have worked out well, qualifications, if you will, that have worked out well for the village here since they made the switch years ago. Tried to stay consistent with those, and then we listed out the scope of service of basically the top services that we use from them, so that people have an understanding of what we're looking for, and then we can put that out and then kind of stack rank them and then bring them back to you guys. I will say, if there isn't a desire to switch, I don't know that we need to go through the exercise. I mean,
Right.
I don't
waste
want
the
to.
time.
I don't want to put the staff through this. If at the end of the day, everyone looks at us and says, well, we were happy with Rupert and Milky, why did we do this? So by all means, if I know the staff is happy working with them, we have a good relationship. We have a village engineer who lives in Lake Country here, which is huge because they are close. So I mean, I'm not trying to sell you on R&M, but that relationship obviously has been 10 years, and it has some good history along with it. On the flip side, if we're serious about looking at other firms and seeing what else is out there, we are happy to go through that process. There's, we've between the staff that works with the engineering firms, we've worked with a lot of firms. So I mean, there are other firms out there, and so this isn't the only group in town. So again, if I sound a little indifferent, it's because if you guys are serious about looking, we're happy to do that. If you just want to keep them honest and keep the prices good, then I think we've accomplished that, and they'd be willing to match their contract from 2 years ago. So
Does R&M know that they're on our agenda for this discussion?
absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. We it's, first of all, there's no reason not to.
Right.
But we work with Ryan and his team a lot, and we have a lot of projects going right now. So it's not,
Good.
we're not trying to be secretive or evil in any way. And even specific to that, we asked them not to come to this meeting because we didn't want it to be awkward either for him to be sitting in the audience and we're talking about him. So
Sure.
they respected that.
I don't think that we've done it before, but it might not be a bad idea to put it on the agenda just to kind of have a couple year in review and sit down and talk to him. I don't know what other people's ideas are, but talk to him, and then from those talks, I think maybe it would come from saying, maybe then some of us would decide, hey, we really like this and we think it's a good idea, or this isn't working for me. I don't know. I think it is good, just so, and Mr. Administrator, I want to make sure that, I think it is good that this brought to our attention anytime there's a contract, even if it's automatically renewable, that it doesn't just come to us when there's something bad, but that it's like, hey, just so you guys know, this is an automatically renewing, or this is a 2-year contract that's coming up. I think it is very good that it's coming to our attention, but I don't know, maybe we sit them down and talk to them. I mean, there was a couple hiccups, but all in all, I mean, personally, I think they've done decent with the village, but, that I'm only one of 7. I don't know.
We could have them attend the next meeting and do kind of a year wrap up and a year, they're already starting to work on next year's projects. That might give a list of some of the things that they're, I would say intimately involved with, and maybe also set the tone for what all the things that they do. Did that come out wrong?
Depends how you look at it.
All the things that they accomplish for the village, and they are in the middle of. I think they would appreciate that opportunity to do that. You know, not take up the whole night, but just give a kind of a year wrap up and a where are we going with projects for next year that they're looking to start working on. And this is kind of what sparked that. They started the discussion of, okay, these are some of the projects we need to start working on. And then the agreement came up, and so that's how that ball kind of got rolling, so.
And I agree, I think they've been with it, you said, for 10 years? Okay, 11, but I mean, the longevity's there, so I think out of respect, we do owe them that, to come in and talk to us and get some answers into it, and then from there we can make a decision if we wanna pursue other options out there.
Maybe they could give us since it's been 10 years, give us a discount since we've been with them for so long? I'm serious.
I am happy to ask.
Can I ask a question to the DPW?
I was gonna ask that.
Mr. Faulkner, question for you. So for Rookwood and Milky Services, I understand the suite of services and the scope that we utilize. We utilize their GIS system, correct?
We utilize their GIS.
Their SCADA.
Their SCADA, which
SCADA.
operates our water and sewer
Right.
department. Our GIS is all of our mapping and elections, and
Yep,
Do we
clerks
own
use
that?
them.
we use their services.
Their engineering, they helped us immensely in interim because we don't have a DPW director. So we're leaning on them. They helped Mike and I through the MS4 program.
I was gonna say the stormwater, all
We
of
we,
that.
we
The grant
leaned on
writing.
them a lot. Yes.
Okay, so just for clarification, if we're to say, not all engineering firms would have the scope of what Rookwood and Milky has at their fingertips, from SCADA to GIS to grant writers to all of that, correct?
I believe there are
There are some.
a handful of them that,
And do
that
they all
offer
have-
all the services.
And then do they offer the GIS services that we?
They do.
Okay, thank you.
But would it,
I will say about GIS, that was kind of their bread and butter.
Yeah,
And so there's probably an avenue there to keep the GIS system intact. Somebody else might manage it, but I know Milwaukee County, Waukesha County, Ozaukee County, Washington County, Racine County are all R&M's GIS system. So I think they were kind of first to market with that municipal GIS. Certainly are the leaders of the GIS right now in our area.
so that would be a concern of mine or a question to see if it'd be a concern of yours without having a head of the DPW. You and Mike kind of sharing that position right now. Are there concerns of yours of bringing someone in new?
So if we bring somebody new, it'll take a lot more time because it's a training process, right? They need to know learn the Village of Hartland, our GIS system, our utility system. They need to learn everything about the Village of Hartland. So it will be time that Mike and I will have to give to the new engineering firm. Absolutely.
What kind of timeline is that usually?
I would
months?
say 6 months.
months, a
Yeah, it's pretty in depth
Okay.
with the SCADA and the GIS and then getting into all of our utilities.
I think it's important for the board to remember also, like when you go and look at municipal, going to Mr. Faulkner's point, when you go in and look at our code, it is cheaper, or it appears to be cheaper to subcontract that out than hiring an engineer, but that's realistically what we're doing when we get into this contract. We're just saying, well, it's cheaper to do that than pay for all of these services that are provided and have the engineer, for apples to apples, it's cheaper to, subcontract it out, but we have to look at it almost like we're hiring an employee. So when you're talking about the 6 months, I don't think that's outside of
What's
outside
nice
of
about an
realisticness.
engineering firm instead of just the DPW being an engineer, DPW director, is they can lean on a different engineer in their facility, which specializes in water, stormwater, sanitary, and then also
Same with assessor,
Design.
same with attorney. It's nice to have the firms that have other people under them.
have a large
To
portfolio.
Specialize.
Yeah,
yeah,
diverse portfolio.
absolutely.
I'd like to go on record that, knowing how much effort, and what this engineering firm does for us behind the scenes and how well they work with our DPW department. I think they do a phenomenal job, and as much development as we've got going on and what we've got coming. It does make me a little nervous to start making some changes now, being the scope of what we have for our own staff. So I just want to make sure I'm on record for that. And I do
Agreed.
appreciate
I
Arnim's
agree.
time.
Absolutely agree.
You know, that last meeting that we just had, and I mean, he blew me away with being able to forecast out where we were looking for water so that we have a really good, clear picture as to what the next 5 to 10 years could look like with development. That's a lot of time that Rupert Milky puts in, and I appreciate that. It helps them and it helps us.
Absolutely.
Could we just have them come in and give us the updates or
Absolutely,
summary?
absolutely.
I think that's nice.
I think
Yeah.
it's appropriate.
Yeah.
You know, I guess, as I look at the job is that we have up here, is to provide the vehicles and the things that our people that we hire need to operate. Our job is to make sure that we get the least expensive, and we take those tax dollars and we're not spending them frivolously. We want to make sure that we're getting the most for of that. And as I look at this, I say, well, we don't like the engineer, or we got to work on money. Well, I think we like the engineer. Are we really talking about, as we do in other organizations, that we're looking at trying to see if we can save some money? Are we trying to negotiate a new contract? I mean, if we have an accountant, we talk to, we'd want to try to.
Baker Tilly.
Huh?
Our firm Baker Tilly.
Baker
that we work
Tilly,
with, yeah.
we negotiate with them all the time. I knew you're gonna do your evaluation, we do this. Maybe, are we really talking about, because myself, I have never really heard a big problem with an engineer. I've never heard anything. I don't think this is really great, we got this, we got all this technology, and you read all those industrial magazines, and they come out for the municipal magazine. This is how great it, that our GPS system was. Over the years, it was the first one ever. But now, are we really talking about that we're really not happy with the engineer, or we want to change something, or do we really want to have lower money, lower fees? And I guess I'm looking at, what are we talking about here? I mean, if we go out and do this bidding, then we're somebody else we have to retrain our DPW. If it's gonna say, hey, look, we don't like you, can you give us rebid? Because we're doing this, or we don't want you to do this or that. We want to have a new contract. So I really like to know what direction you were really looking to do.
Well, and to your point, Mike, I mean, we could do that. We could go and say, hey, we want you to bring something back. COVID has been rough. There's been some mistakes made along the way. We want it at less money. We want the same thing at less money, but we want you to it can go anywhere. But now is the time where the contract is up, so I think that's where it's kind of brought up that, those things can be looked at.
Well, when we went through like the first or second year with Rupert Milky, I didn't know anything about engineering. I still don't. But I said, boy, those fees are pretty high. And I asked our administrator at that time, and I don't think it was before Ryan, I says, can you tell me what we're paying now versus what we paid for the people that we replaced? And they went through a 4-year review from the person that we replaced, and then with the 2 years of what our Rupert Milky was, and they were very, very close. But yet I had people tell me that Rupert Milky is just too expensive. And I'm going like, well, the only thing I have is that they're about the same price as what we had. So there really was no extra expense on that. And that was always confusing to me. It seemed to be more of a personality. I don't like this, I don't like this. I want that. And well, we don't do that. And so that's like, you're golden when you come up here and whatever you say, if you say, this guy's for crap, okay, I want to get somebody new. That's it. Because I don't do what you do. You know more than I do. You know what, if this is helpful or not. And so, when we get into doing this stuff, and this is really deep, because we're running out of land, and we're running out of older infrastructure. And we have to know what the hell's going on. And we have to know where that old 4-inch pipe is when it should be a 6 or 8-inch pipe. And we have to know, where does that drain go? And what's this big marsh out here? We had a lot of things going on. I don't want to make a change just because we think he's too expensive, or that if that's the case, let's send out a bid. let's not ask for, let's give me a bid. What are you gonna do? Here's a list of stuff you have to do. Give me a bid. And let's do it that way. But, I mean, I don't know, having them come in and review all this stuff with us, I mean, here's our review right here, this guy. And the other guy that doesn't show up. No. Oh, he's over there. You know, but what I'm saying is you guys are the ones that have to give me the input to do that, because I mean, I can't, what am I gonna ask? Does the water really flow nice down that road? You know, I mean, I don't know that stuff. And, I mean, you come in and tell us, have to have, on the hydrants, we have to change this pipe because it's rusting. Okay, do it, you know? And so I guess that's where I'm a little confused with, you know, what we're really going to try to do. If we want to negotiate a contract, renegotiate a contract to get lower rates because of what's going on throughout our society, or say, hey, we're not happy with what you're doing, we want to get somebody else that we have to retrain to do it and then waste 2 years. That's all.
I think that, in my opinion, in asking for it to be on the agenda, more than anything what it was, and people that have been here for quite some time will know, staff and elected members of the body, that in years past, other than the last 4, it never did happen. It just automatically seemed to renew on a lot of different contracts where the board wasn't given their full right to do what they were elected to do. So even if it's part of the contract that if we ask him to come in, doesn't cost us anything. If he comes and sits down and we all look at him and say, we think you're great, and he doesn't have to answer any questions, I'm sure he's not going to mind doing that. Usually it's Ryan Atman, but the firm is not going to mind doing that. But for me, the important thing is that the village board and the elected officials, each one individually, is given the right to ask 20 questions if they wanted to, and that they are informed on what's going on. And that part is worth it to me. I personally like the idea that was brought up of, let's bring him in, let's talk. I don't think we have to ask him for a presentation. He just gave one. I think more so, we don't need to have a sales pitch. I think more so it's for the trustees of us elected board members to be able to ask questions if we have them. If we have none, great. But then we've still been afforded that opportunity. And it makes for a more open government than like has happened in years past, where all of a sudden a contract, we're like, well, when did that contract even start? And we're like 1996, and it was just put on automatic renewal with a 5% increase every 3 years, and no one told us each time it was up. I would rather err on the side of having too many times that we have to have someone sit in front of us than all of a sudden have people that serve past us, you know, the next people that serve, all of a sudden say, well, man, why didn't they ever review this or look at that? And by doing these things, even though they seem small, we never will run into that.
Well,
So
that was kind of my original question about a price increase, because how does it work? I mean, I would think if they've been doing it for 11 years.
Tim, I think, already answered that, and I think the engineer already alluded to that they won't increase it, but we could ask that. It works however you do the contract.
Well, I get that, but I didn't know how it was already put in place. Like you said, automatic ones. I'd look at automatic. Okay, what happens in automatic? It's just renewed, or it's renewed with, you mentioned 5%.
It all depends on how they write the contract.
How about we ask them to submit an updated agreement for another 2 years? We'll do a comparison, we'll put that comparison in, then we'll have him at the next meeting to talk about where he's at, and then the agreement, and then.
With a 2% COVID reduction.
5%.
Kidding, that's,
No,
I was
I,
kidding.
You can ask.
I think it's fair.
And then if the board's not comfortable next meeting, then we can still do the SOQ?
That's what I agree.
If they're comfortable.
And that's what I mean, even if he comes in here and we decide to do that, then we can still do that.
Yeah.
Trying to get a bid done by, the 31st of December, I will say, and that's what I was saying.
getting tighter,
That would
but-
get, that's tight.
Yeah, I would think we could start that earlier, and we'd
We
have
would
a
almost have to ask for an extension
DPW
anyway
director
or
in
something.
place.
Yeah.
Sounds good. We
But
can-
whatever we do, we would need a motion, we could, well, I suppose we could just ask, but, or we could make a motion to really solidify that we want him here at the next meeting and have it put on the agenda.
Well, Tim's gotta do his comparison, right, or he's gonna do that talking to him and tell him.
I'd be happy to put that together if I think what the president was asking for is, are you comfortable with me doing that, or does somebody want to make a motion to do that? I think that's what you're asking, right?
Basically, I was saying we could really, you know.
I'm happy with you doing
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
All right, Tim, do it.
That sounds good. I will put that together.
Thank you, Phil.
Thanks, Dave.
See, I asked for a motion because you put and action instead of and or possible action, but you put and action, so if someone would have come to the meeting, sitting and waiting just to see what's gonna happen with this,
Yeah.
they would have gotten to see no show.
I like motions, they're really clear, you can read them the next day.
I would like to make a motion that we, ask the administrator to set up the, engineer, Ryan Antman, to be here at the next meeting, at the next village board meeting. It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That motion is carried. Announcements. Chief?
Good evening, everyone. Just want to give a quick update on our officer that was involved in the shooting a little over 2 weeks ago. I know I sent an update in the weekly update, but I'm glad to say he has been released from the hospital. He's recovering from home. He still has a long road to recovery ahead of him. A lot of things going on, but he's doing that all from the comfort of his own home, as you can imagine. With COVID protocols at the hospital, those have been very trying times, not only for police department operationally to try to work with him, but also his family, because they are not allowing anyone in any hospital right now due to those protocols. And as you can also imagine, actually getting rest in a hospital, especially with those protocols going on, is not the easiest thing. So we're glad to say he's back home, in the comfort of his own home, getting some actual rest, and will continue to progress through at-home services as he works his way through this. Community's been great, constant support throughout. People every day, including today, stopping in, dropping off, things to take over to the officer involved, things for the police department just to know that they're thinking of us. It's been just phenomenal, very humbling, and again, makes me proud to provide police services to the village of Hartland. And I know this has gone out to most of the board, but the Delafield Chamber, as well as the Hartland Chamber, is organizing an event for both officers that first Sunday in December at Revere's in Delafield. Other than that, it's been going as good as can be expected. We did our first department debrief with our post team today. So that's just through the Milwaukee Police Department is a police officer support team. They're very well known for these type of incidents, unfortunately, but they did a really great job today, and everyone was real appreciative for their assistance and helping them work through this as well. So it's been good. Thanks.
Thank you, Chief. My birthday's Monday. That's an announcement.
Let's not
42.
Let's not have a meeting. There's no meeting next month.
In honor of your birthday, we'll come.
I don't have a ton other than to everybody in Hartland, to the village board, to the staff. I hope you have wonderful, wonderful Thanksgivings.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
It's been, it's been moved and seconded to adjourn this meeting.
And argued.
All in favor? Aye. This meeting is adjourned.